to be a teacher. From when I was little, I played school with my sister. I babysat. I worked in daycare, and then I worked in YMCA day camp, and I just knew that's what I wanted to do.
It just always seemed like a natural path for me. I always babysat a great deal from the time I was about 12 years old. I was running to the neighbors and offering to babysit, and just something that came very natural to me, and I always loved kids. The other thing is that I just love school. I love notebooks, and I love pencils and pens and writing and all those things that come with school.
Well, what really made me become a teacher is that I had a phenomenal first grade teacher, and she made such a great impression upon me that, and the differences that she made in each kid's life, not just the whole class, each kid's life, made me, really want to become a teacher.
Well, first off, I'm a Florida cracker, so naturally I went to Florida State. Back in the trimester days, got through a year early, and then got married and moved to Maryland, taught on the eastern shore of Maryland for a couple of years, went back to Florida, down to Fort Lauderdale for another couple of years, and moved to Jacksonville for about 20, and then moved here for the rest of it. So I've been teaching since 1966 when I got out of college, and went from that frying pan to the married frying pan. And of course, the same husband still there, so that's what I've been doing all my life.
Well, my college background began here in Orlando. I went to what was called OJC, Orlando Junior College. It is now Lake Highland Prep, so OJC no longer exists. After that, I went to the University of Florida. I'm a Gator, and that's where I received my bachelor's degree. Came back here and have worked in Orange County for 34 of my 35 years. 1 year I was in Lake County, and then I received a master's degree from UCF. So I'm a native Floridian, have never lived anywhere else but good old Florida, so I'm one of the few people that can really say I'm a true native Floridian from the beginning.
That's funny. There'll be two of us on the same bunch.
Yes, very.
Well, there's three.
Three? Oh my goodness. Three crackers.
Yes, I'm a native Floridian. I've lived here all of my entire life. My higher education started at Valencia Community College, where I received my AA degree. And after that, I went on to the University of South Florida in Tampa to complete my education. I have been teaching for 30 years. 20.
I was hired at Weingard Elementary School. This was 1971. Weingard was actually the first open concept school in Orange County. And I had no real idea what I was getting into, but I wanted a job and I said yes, very excitedly. But open concept meant that we had each grade level in one room, one pod it was called. So that was what was ahead for me. The first year we were in portables. The classes were ability grouped, and being the new man on the block, I had all the low ability children for the entire day, and it was very challenging. Luckily I had someone next door that I could run to and get help from occasionally, but it definitely was an interesting, challenging year.
Well, much new, probably my third year of teaching, because I had a lot of stuff under my belt then. I kind of had a pathway, And not only that, I had a principal at that time that actually kind of validated that this was the place for me and this was the thing that I was supposed to do. So that validation was really probably my third year when I really got validated that this was really what I should be doing. I was identified as the teacher of the year because when you work long and hard and do the best that you can do for each kid and every kid, So that was just like another one of those validations that you're valued, and I felt very valued then.
You, they're all about the child that you worried over all year, and all of a sudden they just bloom like little flower buds opening up, and their parents write you some nice little note or not, but a lot of times they do. And I always stuck them in a little box so that on the days when things were really not going well, I could go back and read that nice little, you were such a help or whatever they said. And I think those are the moments that I kind of cherish the most, is just that validation, or to see the child bloom, or that's why I do it. All the students really are memorable, but I think the one that just has come to mind recently, because I've gotten to run into this student again, is a young lady that I had when I first started here in the portables teaching first grade. And she was just adorable, and I loved her. And then I went to second grade, and she went somewhere, and we kind of grew apart. And then last year, I walk into the art lab, and there she is as an intern with Mr. Skelza. And it was like, oh, for goodness sake. And she's grown up to be such a wonderful young woman, and is just so talented and doing all the things that you hope best for your students.
Because when we first started, we didn't have these curriculum guides. We didn't have these time constraints,
Yeah.
We didn't have RTI. Our RTI was red group, green group, yellow group. You know what I mean? And you spent the time that you needed to make sure that those children were getting what they need to get. But now we are like lightning speed teachers right now. So I feel like I did okay with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and a little social studies and science in between. But now we're so bound by time constraints, data driven, it's just a whole lot. I think if we just scratched it all off and went back to the old ways, you see a big difference in the kids, not only in their behavior, but their academics. And, because our kids now are going to be, I don't even know if they can compete globally now, because they're missing so much. They aren't allowed to think outside the box anymore, Everything is just step by step by step by step by step. And there's nothing out of step. And you need to have something out of step so that you'll know that, So I just believe that we just actually need to go back to the reading, writing, and arithmetic, and let the teachers put their curriculum together. As opposed to, I know we didn't have the benchmarks, we didn't have the RTIs, we didn't have the data. The most thing that I can remember is that Fountain Valley, and we used to call it Fountain Mountain, red, orange, yellow, all those colors that you had to use, So now, I mean, it was simplistic, but it was a pain for you to do, but.
One of the things that's still around is the Language Master card reader, and I still use that in my kindergarten. I used it in the reading lab when I had that. And so that's one thing that was new that has transitioned well, I think, into today and tomorrow too, because there are a lot of things you can do with it. So.
Well, I love the new doc cams. Being able to just lay a piece of paper on there and not have to have it printed onto film is, whew, that's a great advancement.
There was a little sniffing stuff going on though with those Ditto machines and the old mimeograph, the purple thing that you had to have some kind of fluid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, your fingers were purple
People do not
from
appreciate
August until June.
Yeah.
Just permanently purple.
Parents.
Yeah, I think so.
When I first started teaching, a child who misbehaved in my class, there would have been no allowance for but their parents. They would come in, and that child would have a serious understanding with mom and dad at home later. They were very supportive of the teacher. They wanted education for their children. I taught out on the eastern shore of Maryland where the frozen food plants and factories are. So a lot of these were migrant children, and their families were just wanting that education, and they were very supportive. And even when then I moved back to Florida, down into Fort Lauderdale, up to Jacksonville, when I taught in private school and people were paying buku bucks to go, they were still supportive of the teacher, wanting that education, not allowing their children to be rude or disrespectful or any of the things that we just like seem common today. It's like nothing. Just tell your teacher off, get a block and whack somebody, or the parents want you to do their job for them and you're already overloaded in your own. And of course we do their job for them because that's who we are and we always do. But I see that as the biggest, and it really is scary for the future because
teachers now have to wear so many different hats. At one time our hat was just to be the teacher. Now we've got to be the doctor, we got to be the nurse, we got to be the mother, we got to be the father, we got to be the social worker. I mean, we take it upon ourselves to do those things because we love what we do. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is to be so disrespected by so many people, is just not a good thing, because we are totally disrespected, not by just people, even the government kind of disrespects us, So I'm like, we just have too many hats, and we just need to start taking some of them off and put the responsibility where it actually belongs, and that way we can just be the teacher. The other thing is, what job or profession that puts as much money into their job as we do?
Mm-hmm. Giant of realizing how much money you've actually spent over all these years,
and
how
things on the table.
These classrooms.
Look how much you have invested in just this one portion of what you have here,
Mm-hmm. But think what the classrooms would look like without all the stuff that we have bought.
To the bone.
Mm-hmm. And yet, what other profession do you walk in and you are expected to deck it out so you can work? Mm-hmm. No one brings their vacuum to do the job, or let me go get my pots and pans and knives so I can be the helper in the kitchen. No. But I sure got to go buy my alphabet, and my markers, and my this and that. And my husband laughs. He tells me he can see where every year I've moved and packed, and the garage is just a little more boxes that I didn't bring back every time. But of course I went and bought something new, I'm sure. I shudder to think how much money I spent.
We're teachers. We see all this new, colorful, fun stuff, and so we want it. But I do wish I had receipts for everything that I've spent over these 35 years, because
I told my daughter that if she wanted to go to college, I would pay for any profession other than teaching.
I've heard other people say that.
She has seen me all her life, a teacher. She saw all the things that I did, all the things that she perceived that I took away from her because I was buying for somebody else's kid. But that's what an only child will say, They think someone's taken away from them. But if you're going to be a teacher, you don't treat it as a job. Treat it as a passion of yours.
Yeah.
Because if you aren't passionate about it, you won't be successful with it. And I just happen to be one of those passionate people, because I never treated it like a job. It was like a passion for me. I wanted to do it, and I did it, for 36 years. But teachers don't need to take things personally, because when you take things personally, you lose self. So that would be my advice to them, is just make sure you're passionate about it and don't take everything personal.
I would say bring your patience in large amounts. Bring your humor in large amounts, because you've got to laugh at yourself and others. Bring a lot of determination and love for children, and always keep that in the forefront as what your goal and you're striving for. And as my dad used to say, bring a lot of iron in your jaw, because you need that strength to keep you going. But if you hang in there.
My friends from college are all principals and administrators somewhere, and they look at me, "Are you still a teacher?" And I go, "Yes," because to me that is the most important job you're going to ever have. And so if you want to be a teacher,